The day has come. After upsetting the form and blowing away the competition, Donald Trump is officially the Republican nominee for president.
Together, we've achieved historic results with the largest vote total in the history of the Republican Party. This is a movement, but we have to go all the way.
So why is it that despite a record turnout in the primaries, an easy win for the frontrunner, it's been something of a fractious coronation in Cleveland? If the establishment of what's called the Grand Old Party is having trouble embracing the real estate mogul come reality TV star, it's because so many of his policies are anathema to what they've fought for decades. Is Trump out of touch or in tune when he targets disenfranchised working class whites who are less bothered about social issues and the size of the government, but very fired up about immigration, the banks, globalization, free trade agreements? Democrats right now may be purring, but can they too expect a rewriting of political fault lines? Today in the France 24 debate, we're looking at the conventional wisdom around a divided Republican Party. And with us from the convention in Cleveland, he is joining us there. He is a delegate from Alabama, Sean McCutcheon. Thank you for being with us.
Glad to be here. How are you?
Not too bad. We're also in the company from Utica, New York, of renowned U.S. pollster John Zogby. Thank you for joining us here in the France 24 debate.
Hi, thanks.
Now, here in the studio, we welcome back Jean-Éric Branard, the author of Who Wants to Destroy the Republican Party? The Astonishing Donald Trump. You teach at the University of Paris at the Assas campus, and you've come with someone else. I want you to introduce our guest here.
So good evening at first. Yeah, let me introduce you to one of my students. Her name is Clara Tissandier, and she is the president of a small group project that we organized at the university, and we sent our group of students to the United States. They are seeing the United States through their 20 years old eyes, just to figure out how it works in the United States right now, because it seems to be pretty complicated, huh?
All right, well, Clara, we'll be asking you about it and how the group is doing, because you're keeping tabs on them on a daily basis as they travel around the country. And they've been in Cleveland, most notably the France 24 debate, where, by the way, you can join the conversation, and you have on Facebook and Twitter, the hashtag F24Debates. Now, U.S. political conventions are akin sometimes to what they call infomercials. Each party gets its chance to make a week-long pitch to voters. But as France 24's Catherine Norris-Trent reports from Cleveland, this one at times has had trouble sticking to script.
This is the floor of the Republican National Convention. It's where all the delegates come and sit. And usually this is a week of celebration where the party gets behind the nominee. But this year, the party is profoundly divided.
There's people that are not happy, and the uniting the party is going to be a two-way thing. If the Trump faction thinks that they can just browbeat everybody into submission, I think they're going to find it's going to be a long, tough road.
No one is a unanimous pick. So I think it's part of the process to have a difference of views. But we have a clear majority in favor of Donald Trump.
Among Republicans, Donald Trump is so divisive. There are some big names who won't be speaking at that podium at this convention. The two surviving U.S. Republican presidents, George Bush Sr. and Jr., aren't coming. Neither are the two former presidential candidates, John McCain and Mitt Romney. Donald Trump has chosen to put four of his children on the stand.
We're taking care of Americans, where we're putting their needs first and not catering to the feelings of those countries who would love us wiped off the face of the earth.
Even for seasoned watchers of U.S. politics, this is unprecedented.
The Republican Party is going through an identity crisis. There are a lot of people in this hall that were not for Donald Trump. I mean, there's just no question about that. How hard those people are going to campaign for him is an entirely different question.
One of the major questions for this convention, can the Republicans manage to paper over the cracks in their party?
Sean McCutcheon, one of our correspondents describing the mood as friendly but tense in Cleveland. This is a convention unlike any other.
Yes, sir. It's unlike any other, but I would describe it as more friendly and more upbeat than he would.
More friendly and more...
The Alabama delegation, like I was going to say, the Alabama delegation, we've been sticking together like glue, and we've all had a wonderful time, and many of us have been to several conventions. And we're talking about how smooth and wonderful this is really going from our point of view.
How do you explain the fact that there have been so many no-shows among the faces that are known around the world inside the Republican Party, like John McCain, like former President Bush, like Mitt Romney?
Well, I think Romney's still upset about losing when he had the chance to win. Trump is right about that. And then the other big change is, of course, the Bushes are no longer the dominating, the Bush dynasty has died down, at least for the time being. There's a lot of young Bushes that are going to come along. But for now, the Bushes are no longer, and all their associates are no longer really in charge. So it's kind of, that's a big change as far as the Republican Party over the last several years. The major name candidates from politics did not win. Trump is an outsider, which is what the people wanted this time. And this is more of a grassroots. I mean, look at the delegates. Look at, there's less. It's the same in the delegates. There's a lot of new people, a lot of non-political people. So it's a grassroots, movement that has come into the Republican Party.
John Zogby, I want you to pick up on what was just said there by Sean. Donald Trump, more of an outsider. Does it ultimately help him, the fact that the big names inside the Republican Party are not in attendance?
I think that it actually does. It has worked for him so far. He's run an anti-elite, anti-establishment campaign. And the last thing that you need when you do that kind of campaign is to be embraced by the elites and the establishment. So in many ways, this is for him the perfect response by the Bush family and by the establishment of the party. It fuels his supporters, and it also gives him that additional anti-elite cachet.
Did you see this coming, John Zogby? Did you see this change inside the Republican Party where the likes of a Donald Trump could be the nominee?
We knew that there was a tremendous amount of anger. We also knew that the party is hopelessly divided even before you get into personalities. But no, to be very honest with you, here is someone who came along, Donald Trump, broke all of the rules imaginable. And no, I did not see it coming. I don't think anybody really did. I don't think Donald Trump did either, frankly.
You don't think Donald Trump did either? How's he reacting now?
Well, I think he's in a place, he's comfortable now, but I think he has to be in a place that he did not anticipate. My sense was that it was a vanity campaign. And then he must have said to himself at some point, wow, the crowds are big. People are believing this. And he's adjusted himself as he's gone along.
Jean-Luc Brana, do you agree?
I do. Except maybe that the fact that Donald Trump didn't see that coming. My opinion is that he started a strategy right from the beginning. I said that several times here. From the 16th of June, when he attacked Bush from the beginning.
Jeb
Bush, yeah. Talking about the wall, that was a direct attack against Jeb Bush because Jeb Bush was connected to the Mexican through his wife, Columba, who is of Mexican origin. And what we've noticed is that all along the campaign, it has been a strategic campaign all the time. He was keeping his route all the time, whatever might happen. And especially at the end, when there was this moment after New York, when he was said to be the winner just after, he didn't change his strategy. At the time, we thought he would lead to the party establishment and to try to change his strategy. He did not. Even right now, if you look at the platform, this is a very conservative platform, but there is a mention of the wall, and himself, he didn't change his speech. So I think that there is a real strategy. Why? This is the big question. The question is that America is divided. There are two words. There is the word looking to the future, toward what might happen in the future. Those people live in the coast on the Pacific coast or the Atlantic coast, they are ready for a change in America. And there is an America of the past. All the states in the middle. We heard somebody from Alabama just before is here, and those people are living a different world because they are living the world of the past, and they don't accept the fact that those politicians stop talking to them or are listening to them more than talking to them. Because the politicians right now, both in the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, are turned to the future, and they forgot that those people have to come also to make their move, their way to this change in America. And maybe it goes slower in this part of the country. So I think it was a strategy from Trump to say, hey, I want to listen to those people because, they're still there and they're not ready for this future right now. Besides, I think it is not a good strategy because it is not good for the future of the GOP. What may happen at the next election, at the time when the demographics will change with the rise of the Hispanics, the Asians in America. This party now is ready for the past. It's not ready for the future. So this is my difference of point of view.
Before I put it to the rest of the panel, John Zogby, what does your polling suggest on that? Bashing Mexico, bashing China, is it looking like it could be a rout as a result of that?
Well, it should be a rout. If we look at convention and history and demographics, this should be the death of the Republican Party. It is, in effect, as the professor says, an all-white party, and the percentage of the total electorate that is white is actually shrinking. Mm-hmm. But with that said, you have this fundamental, not disagreement, but rift in the United States between an angry white middle class who legitimately feel as if they've been left behind, and growing demographics of non-whites. And this is the inevitable clash between the two and between the two political parties. But with all that said, personalities do play a role, and you have a master of showmanship, and you also have Hillary Clinton, who makes this race a whole lot closer than it really should be. Democrats should be winning in a landslide, and right now things are tied because Hillary Clinton is almost as distrusted as Donald Trump is.
Clara Tissandier, let me ask you, seen through your eyes of a young French person, we're looking at a country where there's a bit of an identity crisis. There's a problem with globalization. There's politicians like Hillary Clinton, who've been around for a long time. Does that sound familiar to someone who's French?
Sure. I agree with Mr. Brana. I think American election cause tension into American society. Because both candidates are opposed on their point of view, and I think it creates a fragmentation of the society. And in my opinion, I think there is no candidate in France that can look like to Donald Trump because he's exuberant, he's a showman, and yeah.
So the issues are the same, but you find a Donald Trump here in France, is what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Let me ask you, Sean McCutcheon. You said at the outset that within the Alabama delegation, it's all good. But what about, more broadly? Because after all, the Republican Party, ever since I can remember, has always been the party of free trade. And here, when Donald Trump talks about building a wall, there's got to be arguments where you are right now.
Well, not in Alabama, but the wall is about immigration. Immigration is a different issue than trade, but certainly Trump wants to change the trade deals and not have a complete wide open trade where we're just losing tons of money and tons of manufacturing going out of the country, at an American expense. So that's Trump is talking about fair trade, not just open trade. He wants to make it a fair process where we're not losing so much money and so many jobs. But the wall is about immigration, and I think it's common sense, and the people understand that you can't have wide open borders and have wide open trade and then have security and a higher standard of living at the same time. So ultimately what's driving this is the low wages, the lower standard of living. That the Americans are experiencing a decline, and we have been for decades now. That decline is a result of these policies that are basically, washing out the assets and the manufacturing and the jobs and the standard of living that the American people are used to, okay? I mean, we've been living 10 times better than the rest of the world, and now they want us to live like the rest of the world. That's what it boils down to.
But Sean, what makes your country seem so vibrant to us is the fact that you welcome all these people from around the globe, and that you get them all working, and it helps your economy grow.
We do welcome them legally and at a certain rate, the way America has been since the beginning. My great-grandparents came through Ellis Island through a process from Ireland in potato famine. They had to wait. They had to get on a boat. They had to go, they had to do it the proper way. We want to bring immigrants, but we can only bring so many so fast. And Trump is just saying we need to control it and know who they are and have a legal process, legal immigration, not illegal immigration. We can't just have wide open borders and chaos like we've had, because the people on the ground are seeing it. They don't report it in the media, but you can go down to the border towns in Texas and Arizona, and you can talk to people even in California. It's on the ground. It's just not being covered. And you can't have this wide open, mismanaged situation that we've had with immigration and, also the money and financial system. So Trump is just talking about good management, about making America great again.
We're going to pick up on those points. We're going to pick up on those points. Sean, we have to take a very quick break. Stay with us. You're watching the France 24 debate.
Donald J. Trump, having received a majority of these votes entitled to be cast at the convention, has been selected as the Republican Party nominee for President of the United States.